Well, this morning I remember. It's actually pretty easy to remember. Everything we did last night is right here in front of me, so we're going to have a rollback. Yeah, no question about it. Well, once again, let's just roll back and see what happened to get to this place. Okay, this evening I'm hoping to get the last of these parts mounted on rotating blocks. And I was working on the reels here, and one of the viewers suggested wrapping wire to simulate, hose and so on, and I was thinking, yeah, I could do that, or even thread. Now the thread would absorb the paint. Now, I like I say, I considered it, or at least I think I said that, because I did. I considered wrapping wire around there, but I sort of envisioned myself trying to do it, and then I envisioned myself breaking the legs off of the ends of the reel, which is probably what I would do. So I'm not going to do that, but what I do have to do here is, this is the reel that has the, like I was going to mount it on here, but then when I went to do it, it was sort of lopsided, and that's the one that has the legs that are shorter on one side than the other. So I think now is the time to shorten these ones here to match these ones here. I think that's the simplest way to go. I mean, nobody's gonna notice that this reel is sitting closer to the deck than it's supposed to. So we're gonna do that. And then also, when I was mounting the spotlights, I must have broke off one of these cranks that goes on the side, so I got to mount that back on. So I'm going to stick the macro lens on and have a little bit of fun here this evening, and we're going to shorten these and glue this back on. Okay, now I'm just going to eyeball this. I don't think we even need to take off a millimeter. I'm just going to estimate. Okay. I guess I can get rid of that little, must be something sticky on the, okay, got it more or less. All right, here we go. Yeah, it's sitting level, at least on the tabletop here. It's sitting level. It's better anyway. And how much do we take off? Not very much. Okay, now for this one, once again we want to let gravity be our friend here. Now, which side was it supposed to go on? I have to check. Okay, what I've got here is the CA medium. So it should give me a little bit of time. Okay, I don't know if I got the crank exactly at the right place, but I think it's basically level there. Nope, it's not. I just checked the monitor. I think that's better. Okay, we'll let that cure. Okay, everything now is on its own rotating block. And that way I don't, like I know before I think I had 4 spotlights on a block. And the problem is you can't really concentrate on, let's say one of them starts taking on a little bit more paint than it should. You're not going to really notice it because you're too busy looking at everything in general, if you know what I mean. I'm getting, you know what was it? 6 minutes after 8. No wonder I'm not making any sense here. Okay, now what about the boats? Okay. Now, I'm just sort of wondering here, should I maybe paint the entire boat, whatever color the hull is supposed to be, and then, paint the inside later, or should I paint everything the color that the inside is supposed to be, and then paint the hull with a brush later, or mask it off maybe. That'd be kind of hard to mask off. But there's not a whole lot of detail on the outside of the hull, except on these ones there is the propeller. And but I do believe that it's going to be hidden anyway when it's mounted on the ship. So it's not a huge deal. But that's something I have to decide here. And in other words, should I put them on rotating blocks? I'm not asking you. I'm just sort of thinking out loud here. Well, I guess I sort of am asking. I mean, I read the comments. Don't always do them, do I? Anyway, I'm going to have to sleep on it, I guess. Okay. All being well, we'll see you in the morning. Well, it is morning. My grandfather, that'd be Grandpa Calverley on my dad's side, died in 1966. And he died in a veterans hospital here in Winnipeg. And I was at his bedside when he died. But anyway, where I'm going with this is that I can remember one of his favorite sayings, and it went like this: "When in doubt, do nothing." Yeah, I heard him say that enough times that I can actually, in my mind, hear his voice saying that. You know how it's kind of funny. You think you can remember what people sounded like, and then if you actually hear a recording of their voice maybe 30, 40 years later, you think, well, yeah, that's them all right, but that's not the way I remember it. The tape must be running too slow or too fast, and maybe it is. Anyway, I ran across a tape of an interview that was that my mother or my grandmother took part in, and when I heard her voice, I thought, yeah, that's Grandma, but I think the tape's running a little bit too slow. And it might have been. Anyway, where am I going with this? Well, I'm kind of in doubt here as to what to do with the boats. They don't have to be painted right now. I'm pretty well convinced that we are going to be painting in fact, I know we're going to be using the 66 here on the sides, and we'll be using it on the on the main guns and also on the secondary guns, which I believe are, I think they're 6-inch, I forgot. They might be 5s, I'm not sure. It doesn't matter. Anyway, there's 6 like this that we just made. They're going to be the 66. However, the smaller stuff, I'm going to paint it a different color so that they stand out just a little bit. Now, it's been my experience when I was painting small pieces like this on the Bismarck and on the Hood, that if they were darker than the main hull and the main superstructure, they didn't show up as well as if they were lighter than. But we don't have a swatch of the 56, so I think I'm going to go ahead now and just brush on a little swatch here and let it dry. Well, that's kind of painting, isn't it? Yeah, I don't have to plug in the air hose. Yeah, let's just do that. I think there's a little spot right here I can use. Now, I've got 3 of these, and it says opened on it, but I haven't opened it yet. This will be the first time for this jar. And yeah, that way I don't, grab another one if I just want a tiny little bit and open up a fresh one. And, oh, it's coming a little better. Sometimes these are really hard to open. Okay, so that's going to work. Now we're going to write 56 on here. This pen is drying out. At least I hope that's what it was. I'd hate to think that I've got something on here, but I don't think I do. Now, I think we should play it safe here. We don't want to mess up our green tabletop any worse than we already have in places. Well, this is going to be interesting to see what it looks like after it's dry. No, this is different. Okay, let's let that dry. Maybe I'll give it a second coat. Now, I know that it's going to look different after it has been sprayed than it is after it's been brushed. But I think the overall color and brightness of it, you might say, will be visible. And then we can compare it with the other ones. At least that's the plan. Okay, let's clean up here. Well, I think that viewer was right. I don't particularly like it. It's not flat like I thought it was going to be. I guess the word metallic in the name should have been my first clue here. Yeah, it kind of has a shininess to it that I don't think a battleship should have. So I'm just wondering now, am I going to end up now with 3 jars of paint that I'm never going to use? Well, the good news is that my car is almost to the place where I can drive it out of the snow and go to the hobby store, because I hate to pay for a delivery charge just for paint. Now, mind you, I realized that I forgot to get the X20A Tamiya thinner. I've only got enough left for maybe to thin out 2 more of these things, and that's it. Okay, remember Grandpa's saying? when in doubt, do nothing. So it might not be a good idea to go spraying this stuff on. Now, mind you, when it's sprayed, it might look different. But it did not brush on too well. And oh, by the way, this is the third coat. So it's about as good as it's going to get. Okay, step 7. And it looks like everything is on the L sprue except for one piece, E20. And here's our L sprue. There's only one. And we only have to make one of these things. It looks like we're just about ready to lose this. Well, let's put it in a test tube or something. May as well do both of them. Okay, so what are these things here? Okay, it looks like 37 and 40. Better make a label. Okay, boys and girls, turn your iPads upside down. Then you'll be able to read this. Okay, this was the only piece we needed off the E sprue, and we got it. Now, L42 and L41, they're obviously mirror image to each other. I don't think I need to keep them in separate tins, because it'd be pretty hard to put them together the wrong way. Because on this side, the everything is smooth, and when you flip it over the other way, you can see that there are little notches all along here where parts have to go in. In other words, this zigzag stuff. Now this zigzag stuff, I think I will keep it separate. I was just looking at it a moment ago, and it looks a lot alike. So I'm going to like L4, L2, and here we got L23, L24. They've given them different numbers, so they're obviously different. And yet when you look at them on the sprue here, they look a lot alike. So I'm gonna have 4 separate tins for those, just in case. You know, I imagine when a person comes to putting them together, you could probably figure it out, but okay, our 41 and 42 here certainly did have a lot of attachments. Having trouble holding on to these things. I mean, how hard can this be, right? Okay. Yeah. Okay, this piece here, number 2, it looks like it just continues on right up to the end, but this little part right in here is waste. So get rid of him right now. And I have cleaned whatever it is off of my tweezers, so they should let go this time. Alright. Now number 4. Okay, now this one here, person would have to be careful. If you look carefully, you can see where it's supposed to be cut off. So we'll cut up well above it. Alright, number 4. And here's another case. You can just barely see where we're supposed to cut that off. Go like this, get a little closer to the to the sprue itself. And here's another place. I will have to be careful when I do these. Okay, 23. And 24. Okay, I think everything else that we have to get here, and it's probably guessing about a dozen more pieces, is distinctively different. At first glance you'd think these two are the same, but they're not. They're quite different. Yeah, I don't think we need to worry about getting stuff mixed up, except for maybe number L1 and L12, but you can see that one is quite a bit bigger than the other. This one here will be a different shape and a different length. The L3, you can see where it's supposed to go here. Yeah, I don't think we need to make any separate tins here. I'm going to go ahead now and just nip these off. It's getting on this afternoon. It is after 1. So let's just mosey on here and get these nipped off. Okay. Well, I think I'm going to be spending this evening relaxing and trimming the sprue off of these pieces. And I do actually find that relaxing. I don't know why. Sort of like maybe if I'm painting with a little brush, I kind of find that relaxing too. I've mentioned that before. Now, today is Friday, and Friday is usually grocery day, but a funny thing kind of happened. Well, you might not think it's funny at first, but what happened was usually on Wednesday night is the cutoff for the grocery order. My neighbor adds my list to his list, and he lets his build up all week, and then he'll add mine to it, and I'll usually send over an email Wednesday night. Well, the idea is that if he doesn't get an email, it means I don't want anything. He didn't get my email, even though I'd sent one over. And what had happened was, unbeknownst to both of us, his internet had gone down. He didn't get the message until Thursday morning. Well, Wednesday night is the cutoff. So that meant he sends me an email Thursday morning, which is yesterday, and he says, sorry, I missed your order. Anyway, bottom line is, I was telling him today, it was a blessing in disguise, because probably half, if not more, of my grocery order was fattening stuff that I didn't need. So, yeah, and I got enough cabbage in the house to do me for another week. Well, I got other stuff too. Anyway, I think we're going to cut this episode off here today. I've made enough small talk. And, yeah, all being well, we'll be seeing you tomorrow.